Hello, it's Einar in Unity Center. Today we're gonna interview Rafael. I forget your last name.
Kleimann.
Kleimann. It's some very interesting things he has today. He's going to tell us a little bit about mistletoe essence. It's totally new, a third generation of flower essences. But before that, I want to tell a little bit about Raphael. He has an enormous background of education and experiences. He has been studying in different universities in Germany and the US with philosophy, pedagogic,
Sciences,
voice, and now I think we can call you anthroposoph.
Yes, if you want to.
Yeah, I think that is in that direction. So first, before we go into the mistletoe, I want him to explain a little bit about what is flower essences. That has been used many years now, and you maybe heard about Bach flower essences. So if you can explain a little bit first, what is flower essences?
Mm-hmm. Well, flower essences is actually a very, very old way of healing. We know for sure that the alchemists used it in the Middle Ages. Paracelsus has written about it. So that was in the 1500s.
Interesting.
We have documents from Egypt that tell about it. And if you go into the more esoteric dimension of history, then there's word about Atlantis or even Lemuria, where this was kind of the normal way of doing healing.
Okay.
So in a way you have to turn it around. It's not something new, but everything else is new. Yes. Compared to this.
We're doing it once more time here.
Yes, yes.
But can you just the essence? How do you make it? Is it just you have some special flowers and you put it in water?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. The special thing is that it is a vibrational remedy.
Yes.
So you're not kind of physically squeezing the leaves or boiling the roots or do anything like that, but you just take the flower, put it into a bowl of water, into the sunshine, and leave it there for an hour, let's say, and take it out again. And the water keeps the memory of that meeting.
Okay.
So it's the memory of a dialogue between the flower and the water and all the elements and that moment in time. So the whole mystery is to find the right spot on earth and the right time and everything that happens there. And that's all invisible. That's about having the good intuition, when to do it, where to do it, and of course creating the space where that can happen.
Okay, wow. And when you have it, you usually have it in bottles.
Yes.
And how do you use it?
Well, once you have it in the bottle, this is now made from the primordial essence, the mother essence as we call it, and from there then you make a dilution, which is the stock bottle here. And the classical way, as Dr. Bach described it, who is kind of the rediscoverer of this old technique in the 20th century, the way he describes it is that you use it in a pretty intuitive way by feeling what the individual client or patient needs. So it's not that you have one specific essence for this organ or so. It's more like you're that kind of character, and that makes that you have a tendency to have these and these symptoms, or also you have a tendency to have these and these feelings. You know, some people are more getting aggressive, and other people are more turning the aggression inwards, and so they develop more depression. And the physical symptoms are usually they're kind of the very last stage of a longer process, where all the first stages they are not visible on the outside. You know, you have some trauma, some shock, something that bothers you, but you cannot cope with it. You're not able to digest it. So it kind of goes down in your system, and you're living your everyday life, everything is fine or so, but there's something that's there, it's working, and you're not getting it. And maybe you don't have the tools for self-help, you don't have a good therapist who helps you to pick it up, so it goes there. And if you don't clean that up over time, it'll create functional symptoms over time, meaning you're a little tired, you're a little depressed, you're a little something on a soul level or on an energy level, and in the last stage you will even have a physical symptom. And
it goes from the energy over to the biological body.
exactly.
And that's
it
why
sinks down, and the last step is that
yes.
it arrives in your physical body.
And then the doctors can see it.
And then the doctor says something, and then the art of the good doctor is to bring that back up again. What here you have your stomach ache, right? You have an inflammation in your digestive system. Where does it come from? And the good doctor will then find out that, oh yeah, you're having trouble with your wife or whatever, right? And he will bring that up again to where consciousness can retrieve it and transform it.
Yeah,
and that's where the Bach flower remedies have their great mission. In the last century, they helped even in the medical profession, because Dr. Bach was a really good scientist and physician, to help people to bring physical symptoms into consciousness again.
Okay, so that's the meaning about
that's flower essences in general.
It gets your symptoms into your consciousness.
Exactly.
So
and
then
there you can transform.
Then you can deal with it.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic.
And at the same time, it only not only brings it up, but it also connects you to the positive archetype. Because our feelings, they always have two sides. There's the shadow side and the transformed side, the free side. And the flower always gets you in touch with not only where you're suffering, where you are out of balance, but it at the same time kind of gently touches you and tells you how the relieved, the free feeling would feel like. And then you kind of can remember, oh yeah, this is how I could be. This is how I could react to my wife when we when we have a problem. You know, I don't have to react in this unfree and aggressive way or so. I could do it the other way. The flower tells you and reminds you of your potential.
Yes, fantastic. But the ordinary people still wouldn't understand it. Can you, if you have stomach, you talk about stomach, and you want to, you find which one of the flower essences you're going to use, but how does that energy come into your body?
Okay, well then you have to kind of go back from Bach, which is kind of first generation flower essences or modern flower essences, and beyond. So in Bach you have a very clear medical view. He was homeopathist, he was doctor in the war, he is leader of a hospital, so he's used to thinking also in medical terms, and he was making this way from the physical symptoms to characterological constitution, so to say. And his idea was, so to say, a folk medicine, that people would take responsibility of their own health. Heal thyself was his main work.
What do you do?
And then, just a second, and then in the later, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, with the self-consciousness movement, self-realization movement, people would have more consciousness about psychology and also about spiritual development, the hippie movement and everything. And then they would develop new flowers after Bach. And they would develop flowers in America and in Australia and in different countries in Europe and in South Africa and everywhere. So now we have thousands and thousands of flowers, and they all have their soul archetype. And it's all about either finding for yourself intuitively, you can connect to the flower, you can read something about it, or you can use a pendulum, or you can ask a therapist to find one for you. That's kind of where we were until, let's say, the year 2000. And what is now new with the mistletoe essences is that this is, so to say, the third generation flower essences, because it's also about not only psychological but spiritual self-consciousness. It's understanding ourselves as developing spiritual beings and taking responsibility for that development. And that goes way beyond, even beyond the limits of our life in this lifetime. It's really about our cosmic biography as well. But again, you're using it intuitively, either for yourself or asking a therapist to find something for you.
But still, how do you use it? Do you take a drop in your mouth?
Yes.
Or?
Bach, classical method in Bach is you take the bottle and take a few drops under your tongue. It's not through the stomach, but it's under your tongue, because here you're more sensitive, you're more aware, and then you can more easily sense also your own feelings to it and see how it goes down. And then you take that, especially in the morning, in the evening, when you're kind of sensitive, maybe during meditation and so forth, and you take that over several weeks. For example, one moon round is always a good rhythm for these processes. Now, with the third generation, there's something new to it, that we can work also in the field. We can do it the same way, and we do it. But in addition to that, we can pick an essence and just bring it into the aura and see where it's going.
In the flask.
Yes, we just
okay.
yeah. Okay, shall we pick one for you?
Yeah, pick one.
That was interesting. So I pick one essence here. I just kind of looked which one kind of lights up. I could have also just with my hands, see, okay, yeah.
So you're using your intuition.
I use my intuition. Either with my hands, I could use a pendulum or tensor, or I just look at it and see which one lights up. Or you can also inwardly listen, because each essence is, so to say, encoded. It has a name, right? For example, this one here is essence of creating, and right. And so when I could often also when I look at a client, I hear essence of the mother, right, or essence of the beginning, and then I grab it, or I look at them. It can be anyway, but then I take the essence and then I bring it into a dialogue with the client. So now you are
with
here,
my soul, or
your soul, your energy field, and that works on all levels.
I don't have to say anything.
No.
Oh.
No. I mean, you're welcome to. Every client is always welcome to be as much active as possible and say what they feel and what's going on all levels, but you don't have to. Right? And now with the essence, I could now see where it is going. So just in a very sensitive way, I can bring it closer to your energy field, and here we are already in quite a strong resonance with you. And while I'm doing this, another essence is coming up, so I'm just following my intuition here, and this essence here goes to your back. There's a spot behind your shoulder blades which is a little weak. Now this is here on a life energy level, on an etheric level. It's not on a soul level, but it's doing something with your, you're working a lot, and now you're moving out here, you have a lot of stress here, so this is clearly responding to it. And I could now, for example, let my hands just move the way your energy moves. You see here, now I'm doing some spirals here. It's not my hand, it's your energy that's going here. Okay, let's see.
But I don't have to feel anything, or...
No, you don't have to.
It still works.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the guy that usually feels energies.
That's fine. That's why you're inviting all the feely people here. See, and now this was here activating your inner, we call it I am axis. There's an axis of light that is parallel with your spinal cord, and that connects you to your cosmic sources above you and your grounding below you. So between Mother Earth and the cosmos, you're there in your space of freedom, and that axis is very important. And when we get very stressed, we have a tendency to kind of forget about that axis. Then we are in danger of, being, we can be manipulated and we can lose our energy and so forth. So it's very often a kind of part of the treatment is to just reactivate and reinvigorate that axis. There we go. And that point between the shoulder blades is very often coming up. And now we were working on this pretty basic level of life energy, whereas further outside in the aura, I put it now behind you, so it's kind of watching over you.
Yeah.
Further outside in your aura, you have more your higher consciousness. Right? The aura works in that way that here's your physical body, here's the life energy that maintains your physical body, here come your emotions and your higher feelings, and further outside you are more in your higher consciousness and you're more connected to everything and everybody else in the world. So when it comes to deeper intentions of who you really are, what you really want to do in your life, what is really your mission, then we are much further outside in the aura. And that was so astonishing for me to discover that, because I was coming from Bach and from other things in energy medicine, to see that, oh wow, I'm finding myself here 3 meters away from a client and things are happening. I'm vibrating and I'm seeing things about this client here, and I'm 3 meters away.
Wow. Can you tell a little bit about the history? Who was it? You that found the mistletoe essence, or what get you started?
In a way, I was found by the mistletoe. Okay. It was a funny story, because the mistletoe is quite known as a healing plant, but it's known within cancer medication. In Middle Europe, it's very much used for cancer treatment, and there's a lot of scientific research, a lot of evidence that it's helping a lot. Definitely for the life quality, you have much less symptoms when you are in a cancer process, but even also for healing cancer. And there were people who were working with remedies of mistletoe, using an extraction of the leaves and of the berries. It's a very intricate and high-tech process. There's some vortices, there's some really weird stuff, and they're mixing the summer juice and the winter juice together and something. And one of these researchers there approached me and asked me, well, I've heard that you're working with these Bach flower remedies, and at the time I had written some articles about Dr. Bach and about the second generation flower essences from the United States and other places. And he said, well, couldn't we also make flower essences of the mistletoe? And I said, okay, I've heard about mistletoe as cancer remedy. I haven't even seen a flower of the mistletoe. I wasn't aware how it's flowering. And he said, well, I can show you. He was responsible for treating all different trees with mistletoe. He would even implement mistletoe on specific trees, both in implantations and in wild nature. So he could show me. And it was very special to see then the flowers. It's in the late winter. Like here in Norway, it would be March, April. In Switzerland, it was more March, and it's beautiful. It's tiny. It's golden like honey, and the bees love it, because when the bees come out first in spring, the first thing they see, maybe besides hazelnut also, is the mistletoe. It has a wonderful smell to it, so it immediately caught me, and I said, okay, let's do something here. So we said, okay, we make a little research project out of that. And we prepared essences on early in the morning and in the late morning and in the afternoon, and with full moon and with new moon, and on oak and on birch and on ash and all different trees. And over time we found out there were some very, very high energy and some very special, even while doing the preparation, you could feel something was happening there. And at the time, I wasn't so much trained in, sensing energies and nature beings. So I was a little feeling like you said, but still something was happening. I knew for sure. And then I asked other people who were more trained with that, and they said, "Oh yes, this is something very special. You have to follow this up. Keep going." And so I kept going for now 18 years. And for the first 10, almost 15 years, I was told, in a way, inwardly told, to keep it pretty much secret, because it needed, maturation. It needed to be protected, not too much fuss about it, not commercializing, and just finding out what's going on. And after 5 years, we found a certain key to how the healing goes on, and that has to do with the new millennium. The question was actually came from Norway, because I met my wife in Norway, and she's a teacher, and she started a Waldorf school in Norway. And more than half of the children in her class were either dyslexic or autistic or special talents, unusual children, highly intuitive, but not kind of fitting into this square of, learning from books and so forth. And so she had always this question, how to deal with the children. They want to teach me something. She always wanted to make an education that is adapted to what these children wanted and needed. And there came the mistletoe, because what is the mistletoe? The mistletoe is a plant that doesn't have roots. It's a plant that is kind of high up there in the tree, and it needs the tree to even be able to live on Earth. The tree has the root. The mistletoe is kind of out there, connected with everything and out in space, but without roots. And that reminded us a little of these special talents of these children who had so much knowledge, but not always were they able to kind of bring it down. They needed the grown-ups to help them to bring it into our square society. And later on I understood that in a way that is actually a picture of us people in general. Because how does a human being start evolve? It's when a cosmic eternal being settles into the womb of a mother. So in the mucus of the uterus, this little seed starts to attach and starts to grow. So the mother is like the tree. It gives the life forces. She gives the grounding and gives the contact to the earth. And here comes this cosmic guest and says, "Oh, mother, here I am. Please carry me." And that's exactly what the mistletoe is saying to the tree. Carry me. You have to give me some of your energy. The mistletoe gets the stream of the minerals from the tree, but I give you something else. And some people then say, "Oh, yeah, it's a parasite." Well, would you call a baby a parasite?
No.
Hopefully not, right? So what the mistletoe gives that is on another level. It's on an invisible level, and that subtle connection between that infinity of the cosmic and the grounding of the earthly, of the roots, that's the whole key. And that's where we are as human beings. We have to find that balance every day, between being grounded, but not forgetting about our infinity at the same time, and bringing that into a creative process. And that's the creation process of every day.
Yes.
And when we're creative in our biography, then we feel like, yes, I'm doing something, I'm bringing something onto this planet that nobody else can, because we are unique, each of us.
Yeah. The time is flying.
Go ahead.
Can you just jump to the last part when now it's going to be official, and we are helping you to get this officially into the world, that we can start using these things. The last part, what's happening now then? Of the history.
Let's see. You can say, maybe I can...
Because it was secret up to a few years ago.
Yes. Maybe I can best show it with this thing here.
She has to zoom in first.
Yes. Because after a while, when we were working with the essences, we found that it's really the archetype of what we call for biographical healing. It's not healing one organ or healing one feeling, one trace of character, as Bach was working with, but it's helping you to realize the whole of your biography. And so this picture here came out of the many hundred essences that we made already by the year 2004 when this first came up. And so it was the 12 essences that we made for the children. They were the first ones. And they go through all phases of childhood, from birth to grown up. And then we had 12 essences that go through the life of the grown-ups, through our self-consciousness, working through all issues, of emotional balance and self-development. It also goes through the chakras, from the crown to the root. And then there's 12 essences for the earth and for our connection to the earth. Our profession, what we give to the earth, what we give to society, to our fellow human beings, and so forth. And that then ends with the end of our life. And you could also say, at the same time, this is here, this is morning, and this is evening. Every day we go again through a tiny circle here. And then there was this special moment where we created new essences out of a certain intuition, where every day of the week had one specific essence. We took one special essence from a special place. It was kind of, how to say, we in geomancy we call that a nature temple, like a special place in nature where you have special energies and special beings who are taking care of that. And on the highest point of this special landscape, there was a linden tree with a mistletoe, and we made an essence of that linden tree, and then we made a new essence of that same essence, the essence of the essence, every day in the morning and every day in the evening for 7 days. And it was the week of Easter. And these are the evening essences, and these are the morning essences. It starts with Monday and ends with Saturday, and in the middle is a Sunday. And then we made from that same essence again every Sunday, from Easter Sunday, next Sunday, next Sunday, next Sunday, and we didn't know when that would end, and it ended on Pentecost, which is 50 days after Easter. So these are these 50 days from Easter to Pentecost. And then when we put that all together, we realized, oh wow, but this is a human biography. It's a biography that doesn't start with birth, because we are there before birth even. It starts when we, in our cosmic biography, make the intention of coming back on Earth. Because it's on Earth that we're learning. We're resting between the lives, and we're learning here on Earth. So in that moment here, when we make a decision, okay, I want to come back to Earth, I want to pick out these and these people here as my parents, and sometimes you have to work hard to make them make them find you and make them so you can be born. And I want to live in Norway, or I want to live in Germany, or wherever. And so you're making all these preparations, and then you come down, and then you get born, and then you go through a circle. And when you're dying, it's not finished either. Then you're going through the planetary spheres, and you're digesting, and you're looking back on your past life and so forth, until you're back in eternity and can rest and make a new decision and learn more and start again, start all over again. And so this archetype of a complete human biography is always in the back. That's why we call it biographical healing.
Okay, so you have one essence for each of these.
Yes.
But then again, just to do it I have to have it practically.
Practical.
So if I had a childhood trauma or something, should I have one of these essences then?
It would be very likely that one of these essences would come. But what happens in reality when I treat people, or when other therapists treat people, because now there's quite a lot of therapists in especially the German-speaking countries, but also in Russia, in Italy, who use it, then usually not only these would come, this would be kind of the door opener. But then looking deeper, the essence would by itself bring another about. And then maybe it would have a resonance to something that is here before birth. So this would come in, and it would have a resonance to, let's say here, the essence of the heart, because the heart is always the healing organ. So maybe this would come in. So in the course of, let's say, half an hour or an hour where we do a healing treatment, 3, 4, maybe 5 essences would come, one after the other or partly together. And in between I would say, oh, come on, Anna, hold this in your hand here. Okay, and hold it before your heart. Yes, great. And then I would say, okay, and oh yeah, okay, this has also resonance. So we hold this here, you know. This way I would pick different essences, and they would change things in your energy field, and I would observe how a trauma releases. And when the trauma releases, then we are on a new level, and then we can look deeper. Okay, what was behind that? And so within half an hour, we can do a deep transformation, and at the end of that process, then we ask one more time, okay, should I take an essence home to kind of stabilize, to digest and so forth? And very likely there would be 1 or 2 essence that you would take home, and those you would take in the classical way under your tongue for let's say 2 weeks or so, and then we see. But then you're already in a much different place after the treatment.
Wow, it sounds
Wild
like
stuff.
the future. We have to start ending here. Do you have a good story about a good treatment that has happened?
The really good ones, I think I'm not allowed to tell, because in Norway you're not allowed to tell that something is working. But I can tell you one thing, which may be controversial, but I told you that it came, or the inspiration came out of the cancer treatment. And then the discovery was Mistletoe does much more than treating cancer. And for many years I felt cancer is something that I have nothing to do with. You know, sometimes you feel you have a resonance with something or not, and cancer just didn't interest me. I didn't have any very close relative who had died of cancer. I was not afraid of cancer at all. I'm not smoking, so why should I bother about cancer? And I'm protecting myself against mobile radiation, so, you know, no problem with cancer, I thought. But then over time, after at least 10 years where I kind of totally excluded any thought of cancer, that theme of cancer was coming back to me. For example, one of the leading researchers in natural cancer treatment in Germany, he's professor and was leader of a big hospital in Hamburg and so forth. He said, in all my years of treating people with cancer, there's one thing I've learned, and that is that deepest most deeply seen, cancer always has to do with the life melody, with knowing and remembering who you really are and what you really wanted in your life. And if you forget that, then your unconscious or your higher conscious, your superconscious, has to do something, because you cannot go through life and all the life do just anything but forget what you really wanted to do. So then symptoms come, and cancer is, in his view, the ultimate remembrance, telling you, hey, come on, wake up.
Yes.
What did you want to do? Come on, you know. And there's so many stories of people who woke up after a cancer and made a new life, which was so much better than before and so much more essential in a literal way. And so I understood, and all of a sudden I got clients with cancer as well. And at first I got a little shaky. Oh my God, do I want to treat cancer? And I told people, please, no misunderstanding. This is not naturopathic cancer remedy. I can only do this if you do your cancer treatment beside whatever you do. But people then agreed, and then I realized, yes, in that sense, I can even treat cancer. And I had some amazing success with cancer treatment, because then we arrived at this point where a person could realize, oh wow, yes, that was it. I forgot it. You know, I was thinking of so many other things and living the life that others expected of me and so forth. But this is what I wanted to do, and now I bring this into life. And that's where you can do treatment on a deep level.
Wow. But the main thing is that it helps you remember your potential, what the meaning of your life.
Yes.
That's one of the things.
Yes, but
Okay.
that's the mystery of life, that it's not egotistic to remember who you are, you know.
Yes, of
because at the
course.
same time realize that
Yeah.
you are here always together with others.
Yeah.
You cannot do self-realization without thinking of everybody else and what the
Yes,
earth needs.
Yeah. And today, in this world with TV and debts and everything, you forget what you're here to do.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
but Rafael, we're already gone for
Yes.
a long time here. We usually end the video with you can have 1 minute to tell the world something important.
Tell them about something important. Oh my God.
Shall I hold it here? Or?
Yes, you can have it.
Okay.
That's fine. Great. Well, I believe that the message of the mistletoe is really to realize sensitivity as a gift. The mistletoe is an incredibly sensitive plant, and it's also very much dependent on the help of the tree. And to allow yourself to not be totally self-sufficient, to be free in your spirit, but at the same time to realize that, you know, we are totally codependent in so many things in modern life. You know, I'm driving a car which I haven't built myself.
Yeah.
And getting money from others and so forth. To realize that, and at the same time realizing that we are free beings and we are contributing, and that we're sensitive. And we can be sensitive to many things that kind of attack us, like mobile radiation. I have many people who are sensitive to radiation, me myself too. But to realize that sensitivity is such a wonderful thing when you can communicate on an energy level with people, when you can communicate with nature spirits, when you can communicate with the living nature or with angelic beings, life gets so much richer. So it's worth to be sensitive, even if you're getting wounded sometimes in between or so, you always learn.